This is a show about getting spooked for fun, and neither one of the hosts are associated with the attractions discussed in any way, except for those skeletons in Devin's closet. Some topics may go from ghoulish to ghastly, so viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the Great American Scream.
Hello, my name is Kevin Perjurer, and today on Defunct Land we're going to talk about the amazing build of Walt Disney's greatest rival. That's right, it's Spooky Island, as portrayed in the 2003 film Scooby-Doo. Hello and welcome to the Great American Scream. It's me, Kevin Perjurer, and I've taken over.
His voice is like, it's like a sweet dulcet tone, and it's like, it's not expressive, but it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. Also, he did turn down the voice modulation.
Yes, he did.
A few episodes in.
It used to be intense.
I liked the intensity. Honestly, this is actually not an episode about Spooky Island as portrayed in the 2003 film Scooby-Doo. It's actually it's a Defunct Land episode.
The thing about the voice modulation is it did kind of make me feel like I was about to be in a saw trap.
It also, it both made me feel like maybe he was Brad Pitt.
Oh, okay.
Also,
that was the cover.
Maybe it was a RuneScape tutorial from 2008 where it's all text to speech.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome. That kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Anyway, hi.
Welcome back to the Great American Scream. I'm Adam.
I'm Devin.
And today we're taking a little bit of an interesting break from form.
Interesting is one way to put it, yeah.
Based off of a one-off joke we made 2 episodes ago, in case you're wondering how far in advance I decide what the episode topic's going to be.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even know what we're going to be talking about until I walk in here, and I wrote the dig dang thing.
To be clear, I never know what the episode's going to be about until we step into this booth.
So the legacy of the live-action 2002 Scooby-Doo film,
almost too large to fathom.
It's a lot. Incredible cast. A script that was originally rated R and then got toned down by Warner Brothers.
One of the greatest crimes.
Yeah.
Of the 21st century. And I was about to say an off-color joke, and I'm not going to say it anymore.
Queer crises and sexual awakenings for everybody, everywhere.
Including the cast and the characters.
Just everyone. The fact that Tim Curry was supposed to play the villain until he found out that Scrappy-Doo was in the movie and then decided he didn't want to do it anymore.
And to be fair, Mr. Bean is giving Tim Curry in the entire film.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. You could tell it was written for Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Not that Rowan Atkinson doesn't kill it, because he does.
It's really weird that you referred to him as a character name.
But I don't think anything of this film left such a big mark on horror and theme park fans specifically. Or theme park fans specifically as Spooky Island. Because let me tell you, I don't know how many of y'all operate in theme park circles, but so I'm in the Universal Annual Pass Holders Facebook group, even though I'm no longer an Annual Pass holder.
Wow.
And every 4 days, I'm in there incognito. Every 4 days, somebody posts the same exact meme, which is a picture of that overhead shot of Spooky Island with the caption, like if you want Universal to make Spooky Island real or whatever.
Oh,
and
my God.
It's every 4 days.
Hey guys, a much better meme is, man, this pandemic sucks. Just wish I could go back. And it's a picture of Spooky Island.
Yeah, that's much funnier.
Yeah.
And Spooky Island has always it's kind of the perfect place for me personally. It's kind of a combination of all the things that I really love and cherish and value.
It's kind of created for you, Adam O'Connell, as a theme park and an experience. Yeah,
and another thing that I love and cherish and value in my life is deep dive theme park information videos. Mm-hmm. So I thought that it might be fun Okay, so I'm going to tell you where this outline started, and I'm going to tell you where this outline ended up. The original plan for this episode was to present everybody like a fake travel guide on Spooky Island, outlining the attractions and amenities and entertainment options. But what it turned into was me doing like a Matt Pat film theory style frame by frame to map out exactly what we see of Spooky Island and what's there.
What you're saying is my joke intro could have been one of three different things: a Defunct Land intro, a Matt Pat film theory video, or a DFP Disney food vlog intro.
Yeah, it could have been. It's going to be a combination of all three of those things. It's because I went back and I watched the movie and I watched the deleted scenes. I looked at the concept art, some expanded lore research, information about the filming location, as well as my like general knowledge about the theme park industry, to map out not only what we already know and see of Spooky Island and its amenities and attractions, but perhaps filling in some of the gaps and coming up with
and laying out a plan for our eventual construction of a Spooky Island.
Some pitches and a comprehensive travel plan for you. And okay, so if you haven't seen the live action Scooby-Doo movie, I'm sorry that you were born after 2002. But here's some context. In this perfect film, Mystery Inc. is called to Spooky Island, which is a horror themed like resort and theme park by the park's owner, Emil Mondavarius.
Incredible name.
Yeah, I know. It's really good. Some college students on their spring break have either gone missing or started acting really weird after they left the island. And he wants Mystery Inc. to figure out what's going on. And of course, the twist is that later it's revealed that Mondavarius is actually a robot piloted by Scrappy-Doo, set out on taking revenge on Mystery Inc. for kicking him out by weaponizing the monsters that are native to Spooky Island in order to steal souls and enslave all humanity.
Okay. I know this isn't what we're talking about, but pause the podcast. When you read that synopsis, Scrappy-Doo's inclusion is kind of genius. Like, it sucks that he's in the film because he sucks very bad and everybody hates him, including me, because he's I hate him. But I hate him as much as Andy Samberg hates Seth Meyers' dog Frisbee. That's how much I hate Scrappy-Doo. And I hate him so much. But the idea of writing a film in which Scrappy-Doo is the secret villain contained within a beloved character actor, Tim Curry, and then is revealed to have like wanted to get back at them for kicking him out because everybody hated him and he's a little stinker who everybody hates, is genius. That's so funny.
Yeah, it's funny despite the Scrappy-Doo's inclusion. And then it's like,
it's funny, but it sucks.
Scrappy didn't build Spooky Island. Like he kidnapped the real Emil Mondavarius. That would have been a long con.
Right,
but he kidnapped the real Emil Mondavarius and put him in a hole.
You know what the play was? You know what the play should have been?
What?
Is Mr. Bean plays Mondavarius as controlled by Scrappy-Doo, but then Tim Curry plays the original Mondavarius.
That's funny. So this is almost the most research I've ever done for an episode, despite the fact that as a child, I watched this movie, without exaggeration, almost every day. I was obsessed with this movie. Me and my neighbors, like our idea of playtime is we used to just act out the movie. That was our activity.
Do you want, I feel like a lot of the times in this podcast, we have moments where you and I kind of reveal the reasons why we are friends and why we get along so well.
Yeah.
And one of, like, did you have a TV that had a, like, VCR and you played it on VHS?
I don't think I ever had it on VHS.
So you
maybe
have it on, like, DVD?
I remember having it on DVD. I might have had it on VHS.
So, like, Adam's version of this is watching Monsters Inc. the movie. Monsters Inc. the movie is now what it's called. And every single day and then acting it out with friends. My version of this is I had a little TV with a built-in VCR with no cable in my room, and I had no friends. So I would sit in my room and watch the Crocodile Hunter movie every single day on VHS. Just as a little illuminating thing of why Adam is the way he is and why I am the way I am.
Yeah. So I want to start out, we're going to start off with the basics, kind of outlining what Spooky Island is and also where it is, because they never say in the movie where Spooky Island is.
It's actually in Toledo, in Ohio.
It's just, we know where they have to fly to get there. Okay, I'm going to break this out. So
it's an island in Lake George, actually.
So it's not only a horror-themed resort, But it seems to have this very specific niche aesthetic going on where it's like kind of faux Polynesian, kind of this horror tiki kind of aesthetic going on.
Yeah.
It's focused on mythology and it's not like a horror movie park. It's not slashers.
Right.
It's not bloody or gory. It's focused on like mythology and monsters, which is cool.
In a really weird way, it seems actually incredibly genuine. Like if you were to go to this theme park, you would be worried that this was an island inhabited by an indigenous population, which was then, wiped clean and replaced with this like facsimile. But what it seems like in the film is that it was a island inhabited by monsters.
Yeah.
And that a company came in and said, let's build a theme park and do kitschy, like, faux Polynesian stuff, which is, kind of problematic. Mm-hmm. But also let's have a theming around the monster denizens of this island and kind of pay homage to the monsters that made this island possible.
Yeah, honestly, the art direction is pretty killer. Like the design concept is very good and very consistent throughout the movie.
Yeah, it's camp, but it's like good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all camp is good. You can quote me on that, but like,
I agree.
It's consistently intentionally camp in a way that only early 2000s films could be.
Yeah. So from what we see in the movie, Spooky Island looks like it's like an all-inclusive resort.
It's a sandals.
Yeah. There seems to be no clear line between the hotel, the beach, and the amusement park. It's all just kind of one thing. And we frequently see guests like drinking, getting food without paying for anything. So I have to think that it's just kind of like a resort fee and that everything gets included. I could be wrong, but this would also imply that it is very expensive. But one of the biggest thing that we see that they talk about in the movie is that this is a popular spring break spot for college students. And that seems to be, without exaggeration, 100% of the clientele. We see no old people. Sure. We see no children. We see no families. Every single person we see at this resort is an attractive 20-something.
Which I guess maybe it's a kind of, one, it could be that this is just a dark perversion of Scrappy-Doo and he has changed the clientele. It could also be that this is a kind of all-night grad, anti-drunk driving type thing where like colleges all pitched in to have this island resort where college kids could go so that they didn't like do drugs and get into frat fights. You know?
And it is spring break when we see it in the film, or at least I think it is, which does make me wonder if
maybe it's just spring break. All the other people stay away.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. Either that, or it offers a very like heavily discounted spring break rate, or they're not open year round. It's quite possible that they're seasonal.
Would you expect, this is such a stupid podcast. I hate it so much. I can't believe I'm thinking really seriously about this. It just occurred to me because I was about to genuinely ask you a question about this fictional theme park.
No, I want to know. Ask me.
It's, we would assume that it's somewhere in the tropics.
Well, yes, this is my next thing.
So it's got to be year round.
Well, okay. Yes. It also, because now I want to talk about where it is.
Okay.
Because we know a couple of things. A, it's got to be somewhere where the drinking age is 18.
Right.
So we know it is not within...
right. They do get smashed in this film.
Yeah, and Mystery Inc. are not supposed to be teenagers in this. At least I don't think they are.
This is after they broke up.
Yeah,
this
after
is what, 3
it's
years,
a couple years later. So they're either like college age or just out of college or something.
I mean, they all look 35.
Yeah. But it's got to be somewhere where the drinking age is 18 because you can't have like a spring break kind of college resort and like only have people who are drinking age want to go there. But the place where it was filmed, the real Spooky Island, quote, real Spooky Island, is a place called Tangaluma Island Resort. It's a resort on the west side of Moreton Island in Queensland, Australia, about 75 minutes from Brisbane.
That makes sense.
The island
We should have guessed that it was in Australia or New Zealand just because of the filming.
No, here's the thing.
Oh my God.
I do not think Spooky Island's in Australia for a couple of reasons.
Oh, no. The Spooky Island that we will build will be on the Seychelles because it will play dual purpose as a tax haven. But
So the reason that I don't think this is in Australia, one, we meet 0 Australian characters. We hear nobody with an Australian accent.
Yeah.
The owner, Montevarious, is English, and most of the employees that we hear talk, we don't hear a lot of employees talk, but most of them that we do hear talk are either Australian or English, except for Zarkos, who is the luchador character. Who is only there to have a cool fight with Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, he's an annual pass holder. He comes all the time.
He works there. He works there.
Oh, he's an employee.
Yeah, he works there. Because, so that, the bald guy with the tattoos, his name is Naguta Una. Who's like the performer, he introduces him as like another employee. And since they're both working for they're both working for Scrappy, they're both villains. So it's unclear if they were hired when Scrappy like took over, or if they were theme park employees that were duped into doing evil by Scrappy disguised as Montevarious. I think it's the first. I like the second option, but it totally makes sense for the park to hire a D-list celebrity to try and bring guests in.
Okay. Put some respect on Zarkos' name. Don't call him a D-list celebrity.
Because they even introduced him, because the way they introduce Zarkos, they go like, you may recognize him from Telemundo, the famous masked wrestler, as in like, they have to explain to this crowd who he is.
Yeah, but also, way to not narrow it down. I'm sure people who watch Telemundo would have a kind of list of masked luchadors that they would recognize. I like the idea that Scrappy took over and that the two of them, what is his name?
Naguta
Una and Zarkos were working with Scrappy for years. They're his right and left-hand man. Mm-hmm. And when Scrappy took over, he was like, and also, here are 2 new managers that I'm bringing to Spooky Island. I hired them off of Angel List.
Yeah, so
Angel List? Anyway.
That's number 1. I don't think it's in Australia.
Angie's List. Why did I think it was Angel's List?
That's reason number 1 I don't think it's in Australia. Not the Zarko stuff. That was a tangent, but the fact that we don't see any Australians.
Yeah, 2. I think it's definitely Commonwealth, though. Because we have like a British guy, yeah.
Yeah, so we see Mystery Inc. fly there over the ocean. So we know.
Okay, so that narrows it down to everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although, interesting. Spooky Island, from we see in that shot, has its own private charter flight called Spooky Air. Like, we see the shot that it says Spooky Air on the outside. But it doesn't go directly to the resort, because when the characters arrive there, they arrive by boat. We see them get off a boat onto a boat dock. Also, that plane is whack. It has a bar that you can just get up and go to.
Right. But that tracks to me. A lot of resorts will have charter. They will have planes that work that are just a regular airline flight, but just that they only use like 3 planes that are painted to say Spooky Air. They like have a deal with Delta or American or whatever. That tracks to me. Okay. So, take 1 off the movie sin counter and go back.
Also, most of I actually think all of the guests that we hear talk are American college students.
It's a partnership with Virgin.
Okay, that totally makes sense.
It's a Virgin Airlines
that
flight.
totally makes sense. But yeah, all the guests that we hear talk are American college students who likely would not be able to afford the flight to Australia on top of what they're already paying to be at this all-inclusive resort.
Would you not assume that the all-inclusive would include airfare for
exactly. And we don't assume that because when that guy comes to ask Shaggy and Scooby if they'll come and solve the mystery, he says, "Oh, we're providing your airfare, your hotel, and all you can eat," which implies that airfare is not included in the normal price.
No, I would say that was just a way to. We all know, play. Yeah, that Shaggy is a bit. He's very frugal. And he doesn't like to spend money. And so this guy was like, it's an all-inclusive. But like, if I just tell them that we're doing more, like we're doing extra than we would do for regular guests, which is not true. This is the same thing that every guest of Spooky Island gets. But he's like, if I say that we're like sweetening it up, I'm getting a call from Millbrook. I think it's that lady asking about my car insurance.
That's funny that you say that too, because as I was going back and watching this movie, when he says that at like, because we're going to pay you $10,000 to solve this mystery, which, wow. But Shaggy goes, it's just that materialism's not really our bag, man, which is such a good line.
It is such a good line. I
have such a crush on Matthew Lillard in this movie.
I have such a crush on Matthew Lillard, period.
Yeah, period.
See, I just tripped over my tongue because I got a little heated.
He's so perfect.
The fact that you and Brucker have over the past 2 weeks made me watch the two films that have possibly like the greatest one-liners and like dialogue of all time is really
So,
wait,
okay.
$10,000 is not that much money for
in 2002 money.
Oh, wait, okay. Pause the podcast. Okay,
Yeah,
wait.
do an inflation
calculator 2002. Value of $2002 today. $10,000. This is going to make us feel old.
Yeah.
Is worth $14,000.
Wow.
Or almost $15,000. That's insane.
Nice.
That's insane.
I wonder if Mr. Ink usually charges that much.
Probably not. But also, like, how many of them are there? There are 4 humans and 1 dog.
Yeah.
So that's like $2,000 a person / dog.
That's pretty good.
That's 1 month of rent here.
Yeah. So my best guess is that Spooky Island is probably somewhere in the Bahamas on like maybe a small island off of Great Exuma or something.
That
and makes
sense.
The planes fly guests to Great Exuma and then take them by boat to the resort because I don't think the island's big enough to land planes on.
Right. It's like right off of St. Thomas or like St. Kitts or something.
That's gotta make sense. So I want to go through some of the locations that we see and know about in the movie.
Okay.
There are several like rides, restaurants, places, etc. that we either see or we hear about in the film or in the script or deleted scenes. And we know there's 3 basic main areas of the resort. There's the hotel, which has a pool, bars, lounges, restaurants, etc. The amusement park, which also has a midway, and the beach.
Midways are always the cheapest theming to do.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to a theme park and I see a midway, I'm like, meh. Oh, darn.
We know there's a boat dock, which is how they arrive on the island. And we also know that there is a tram that looks like how people get around the resort. That is a cut scene. It is not in the original. I don't know why they cut it because, again, great dialogue.
Because, again, every single inch of film that they shot should have been included in the movie because it's all pure gold.
Okay, so there is some backstory that we know about the park, allegedly. That's what Nagutu Una tells us. The park was built 10 years ago, with the movie coming out in 2002, making Spooky Island's opening year in 1992, which makes sense. That tracks.
Right. That tracks. When did Euro Disney open?
I think later.
1992. So this is interesting that they would open at a kind of dip in theme parks.
Yeah.
You know, kind of a competitor to Euro Disney.
And also, side note, we can infer that Scrappy has been running the park for at least a couple of months now, as when they find the real Mondavarius at the end of the movie, he has long hair and a beard.
Okay. Hair usually grows at about 0.5 inches a month. So if you want to...
so he's been in there for a while.
Pixel by pixel
you really want to
measure.
Do it. So it is likely the real Mondavarius is the one that opened the park.
Imagine if it wasn't, though. That would be hilarious. What if Scrappy-Doo built this park 10 years ago and he just kidnapped a dude so that eventually when Mystery Inc. came, he would have something... You would have somebody.
He's got sock in it. That's why.
Right. The implication is that, 3 years ago, Mystery Inc. broke up. And at some point before that, Scrappy-Doo got kicked out.
Yeah.
So we're talking about at least 3 years.
It looks like from the flashback scene, Scrappy got kicked out while they were still in high school.
Right. So that's probably like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. So the island was once home to these native creatures, these demon monsters, until Mondavarius built the theme park, which kind of pissed the creatures off. And this is used as like the backstory for the park. Like, even though it's totally true, like they treat it as like the park's fake backstory, at least under Scrappy's management.
Right. Fascinating.
Yeah. We don't know if before Scrappy took over that they also used it, but that's what Scrappy does.
I like the idea that it didn't actually piss the creatures off. What pissed the creatures off is that Scrappy came in and originally Mondavarius lived like in harmony with the monsters of the island.
It's also possible that the real Montevarius didn't know about the creatures, that Scrappy was the one who kind of discovered them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unanswered questions in this, and the script is not as rock solid as I remember it being.
No, well, how dare you, first of all. Second of all, I think that we need a prequel in which we get a kind of like fight over the fight for Spooky Island between Montevarius and Scrappy.
Okay.
And then Scrappy goes into the tunnels and we get a scene of CGI Scrappy-Doo opening up this big coffin to reveal a monster. And he's like, this is how I win. He had just gotten defeated by Montevarius in a big fight with magic powers. We'll explain that all. Yeah. That'll all be fine.
This is very cinematic.
Yeah, and so he flees into the caverns below Spooky Island, and he discovers this big coffin, and he opens it up, and he sees a big monster, and he says in his singular voice, he goes, well, it seems like you won the battle, Montevarius, but I will win the war. And then the big demon monster comes up, and it turns out that Montevarius didn't know jack shit about the monsters, but Scrappy enlisted the monsters to take over Spooky Island from Montevarius. That's my new headcanon.
Okay, yes. So there's a lot of rides that we see. The one that we get the best look at is the Spooky Island Castle Dark Ride. AKA the best scene in this entire movie.
The precursor to the Hogwarts ride.
Yeah. So there's a couple things about this dark ride. One, it is an insanely advanced dark ride. A lot of animatronics, very long, a lot of cool special effects, and very nice scenic design. It is, quote, under refurbishment when Mr. Yink finds it in the movie. But it looks like it's totally operating, so it seems that Scrappy & Co. just closed it to use as a cover-up for their base of operations.
The most offensive thing Scrappy-Doo does in this film, take away an e-ticket attraction from the guests just to have a secret base.
Here's the reason why I think that he picked this. It is way out of the way. Like when we first see it, it's up on top of this big hill, and when they're out in front of it, like Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby, there's nothing around them. It's just like there's no other attractions or stores or food. There's not even a bathroom near them. They're way out of the way of the rest of the park.
Let me pitch you an idea of why that's true. Montevarius came to this island and discovered a pristine e-ticket attraction. And he said, I will build a theme park.
Okay, that's another fair guess.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, in any normal theme park, this would be an e-ticket attraction. However, for the clientele of college students, they're probably way more interested in all the thrill rides that we see. So it would kind of make sense for the villains to shut this down and not raise too many eyebrows, because the college kids aren't going to be looking for the dark ride.
Okay.
Then there is a kind of real
cool college students. All the cool college students are looking for are pissed off.
Yeah. There's actually kind of a real version of this ride at Warner Brothers Movie World in Australia. It's called Scooby-Doo Spooky Coaster, and the exterior looks exactly like it does in the movie.
That's incredible.
But it loses most of the similarities, and it's on the inside. It's a wild mouse coaster on the inside. Still takes place on Spooky Island. There are some references, but it's not a dark ride like it is in the movie. The cars look exactly the same, though. Those like weird goblin cars. They're the same cars. And this is the only attraction we get a really good look at, except for a one-off shot of one of the monsters getting hit by a roller coaster car.
And how could we skip that?
In his character introduction, Montevarius mentions the world-famous Splatterhorn, which is a play on the Matterhorn.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to assume that this coaster is maybe the Splatterhorn. There's like two things that could be the Splatterhorn. Because this brings me...
I love that.
Yeah, it's funny.
I love that so much. The idea of having a world-famous theme park that cost you millions and millions and millions of dollars... Mm-hmm. Not just on ride construction, but also on, getting rid of these ding demons. Mm-hmm. Still being like, let's have a parody of a Disney ride here.
I have that in a note somewhere that like if this were a real place, Disney would be on its ass.
Oh,
like, Disney,
of course.
Yeah. So this brings me to the first shot we see of Spooky Island. Everybody knows it. It's when that great Outkast song is playing.
All know. Yeah.
And we see all the roller coasters. It's the picture that's used in the meme. And we see these absolutely massive attractions over the treetops, like huge attractions.
Yeah.
And some intense thrill. Are you looking at it right now?
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, wait, okay. You should look at it for me. If you Google Spooky Island, it's like the first thing that comes up.
Well, I also put in Scooby-Doo just in case they thought I meant a different
Spooky
Island.
Spooky Island.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're huge.
Okay, change.org petition build Spooky Island.
Told you.
Let's check how many. 48. Oh, no, wait. 50, 67. Why does it do that? 69?
People are signing it in real time.
People are signing it in real time. I'm not joking. It's up to 75.
When was it posted?
I have no idea.
Spoiler alert, it was me. I posted it.
10 months ago? This is messing with me. Change.org, why are you still ticking up? It's now at 83.
Whoa.
What did I do to get this?
Yeah,
okay,
what?
It stopped at 83.
Okay.
I think it was just like,
lagging?
I think change.org kind of fools you.
Okay.
And is like, look, people are signing it right now. That was wild. I was totally convinced. Okay. It's at 83, so go vote for that.
This picture. Okay. So we definitely see like kind of these cable cars that look like skulls or shrunken heads. We see those more than once in the movie. Those are definitely there.
It's very skull heavy, I've got to say, Mondavarius.
Yes. On the far left of this, there is this huge mountain with a face carved into it. Like, this cannot be a man-made structure. This has to have been something natural on the island that they either found like that or they carved.
Right.
It's got this like Hollywood sign style lettering that says Spooky Island on top.
That also was not man-made. They just found that.
Yeah, this thing is like unrealistically big. It also looks
insane.
Like, if you look on the side of it, it looks like maybe Spooky Island Castle, the Dark Ride, is on the side of it. This mountain could also be the Splatterhorn.
Right, because it's a mountain in which, bobsled things could go.
But we're not
just
sure.
need to talk more about this. There's a
I go through every single one. Wait, I'm about to go through every single one.
Take us through and I'll comment as the roller coaster enthusiast.
Yeah.
I will comment.
Moving to the right, there is this very, very tall roller coaster. It's a wooden coaster, or at least it is a steel coaster made to look like a wooden coaster.
A vertical drop wooden coaster.
Not just vertical. Look at that drop. It's vertical, and then there's like a bump. Do you see the bump?
Yeah, a dangerous bump.
You would go flying off the side.
Oh my God. How would you... I mean, I have to assume it's steel tracked. Like, it's like the Incredicoaster.
Like Steel Vengeance? Is that what that coaster's called?
Well, no. I don't think it's an RMC. This is interesting that you... I was thinking more like Incredicoaster at California Adventure, which is just a steel coaster, like
made to look like a wooden
coaster. An RMC is something that started out as a wooden coaster and then was retrofitted to have a steel track that can invert. I don't think this was ever a wooden coaster. That's wild.
Yeah. And we see this right now. And then also this is the coaster, I think, that the monster gets hit by later on. And also we see in both these shots, there's a second coaster in the background that has this large skeleton in the middle. It looks like some kind of single car steel coaster of some kind with a big drop coming out of the skeleton's mouth. Again,
it's
very
gotta
tall.
Be like a Gerschlauer Eurofighter, I think.
How anybody is getting up to these rides is beyond me. Like, where do you board?
What's the path design? What's the queue design? Why is there seemingly a goblin Viking helmet on the right? What is that about?
Yeah. I'm going to get to that one.
Okay, that's a very important one lore-wise, so you're saving it for the end.
In between these two coasters, we also see this skull fixture with red eyes. It appears to have two attractions on it. On top of its head, it's like a typical kind of swing ride. Again, how you're getting up there is beyond me. And then coming out of its eyes appears to be some kind of water ride. I'm going to assume it's a log flume or a raft ride from the width of the slide. And we see in the shot when it's going, you see a splashdown over the trees. So it must be some kind of raft or log flume.
Yeah, which is interesting because it has, a spiral design you would assume is like a dueling body slide or tube slide.
But it's too wide to be a body slide.
Right, but it has a splash. So like that says that it's probably a flume.
Yeah.
This is all very interesting analysis from you and I.
Yeah. Finally, on the far right, by far the most whack attraction, there's this huge devil head with this opening and closing mouth. And there's like you can't see it in the picture, but There's a swing ride of sorts on top.
I see
and when you watch the scene in the movie, it appears to be one of those rides that you lie down in, and the cables are like bouncing up and down. Like you're being thrust. It's like a drop, but you're also strapped in laying down. Like I know this is a movie, but this is so improbable.
I also just you called this a devil face.
Kind of, right?
Stress enough. This looks like a level 2 goblin enemy in an RPG from 1997.
Yeah.
Like it looks like his voice would be like, yeah, adventurer. Like so he has two eyes that are like upturned, but it seems like one of the eyes is way higher than the other. It has spiky teeth that don't actually line up. What ride, like, is that just the base for this whack swing
I think
ride?
so, yeah.
Or is there something inside of it?
No, because the mouth
inside
opens
of it
and
is an alien type spooky attraction.
the mouth opens and closes when you watch it in the scene. So like I can't imagine a ride goes through it. On the mural in the airport that they pass by, we also see a Ferris wheel in the art. And what looks to be some other coaster or slide. And we also see in that mural a coaster or train going through the mountain. So that could be Splatterhorn.
That's
there's
Splatterhorn.
also concept art for a swinging pirate ship ride that I don't think made it into the film, but we probably assume that it's there.
Yeah.
We also know there's a midway, which is visited at least once, twice if you count the cut scene, the cut tram
Which
scene. Where
we all
get,
do.
Yeah, we get a much
cut.
better look at it.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have two different projects I want to do based on this podcast.
Okay.
And I may cut this out, but I probably won't. One, I want to try to get a map drawn of this,
Okay.
a la Disney maps. I also would love for you to totally legally, actually I can just buy it.
Yeah.
Put together a T-gas cut of this film with all the deleted scenes
With all the cut
inserted.
scenes. We get a better look at the midway in this tram scene, but it seems to be kind of a standard midway with some themed carnival games, a rock climbing wall. They're selling balloons. We see a ticket booth. There's some like dancers and other performers, fire spinners. There's some people doing like acrobatic combat as in like knife juggling and stuff.
My dream job.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Acrobatic combat.
Yeah, and rip this scene also because it features some amazing dialogue from Velma's hot love interest who doesn't get a name in this movie.
Yeah.
And also there's a ton of adult lines in this movie that got cut from the movie but are still in this scene because they never made it into the end. So yeah, if the movie's rated PG, all the cutscenes are definitely rated PG-13.
All right, so the T-gas cut, which is going to be called Scooby-Doo Unscrapped, is going to be rated R.
Yeah. Okay. I want to talk about the entertainment offerings now.
Okay.
Again, Spooky Island's theming, off the chain. A lot of entertainment value. We get to see one of the stage shows in the film at the Ring of Fire. We know it's called this because of, guess what? The cut tram scene. They should have kept that in. It's like an outdoor amphitheater standing room with drummers, dancers, this huge fire pit, and some pretty cool projection effects. And they seem to be doing like a little lore of Spooky Island show here, hosted by Nagu Tuna.
Those are always so hard to do as entertainment staff because you know that most people don't care about the lore of your theme park. That's rough.
And this is a good scene. Not only do we get the Spooky Island lore, but we also get one of my other favorite lines of the movie, which is when Velma is interviewing that skeleton performer, and she goes, "Do you see anything strange she started working here? Any weirdos running around?" And the skeleton goes, no. So funny. So yeah, he tells us lore of Spooky Island. We have to assume that this is multiple shows nightly because it appears to be only like 10 minutes long. And they probably maybe use the stage for other stuff during the day, although we do visit it again during the day after the motorcycle chase and nothing's going on. So maybe this is one of the things that only happens at night.
Yeah, you would assume that like they're not going to do that show during the day just because the fire and the projection effects aren't going to work.
But you think maybe they do something else. We also hear a mention of a couple entertainment offerings that we never see, including the electrical torture parade. It's a dead world after all, which is playing two things: the Main Street Electrical Parade / the Electrical Water Pageant, and It's a Small World, both from Disney. Again, Disney would be so on their ass if this was real.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Disney's on like a kid who has a lemonade stand with like a picture of Mickey on it. Disney's on that kid's ass. So like,
and I have to imagine that this parade is some kind of regular on-land parade through the grounds. Although it's possible that it's a water parade, because it would be nice viewing from the beach.
it would be lovely. This fictional parade.
Also, so from what we see, this place employs a ton of performers, like
it's
an
a real Renaissance fair.
insane amount. Every crowd scene that we see is like 1/3 performers. It's insane how many people work here.
Most of them are not paid. Most of them are just there.
It's insane how many people work here. They're all like, nobody's doing anything. Everyone's like atmosphere characters that their only job is to like party with guests and talk to them, make sure everybody's having a good time. And there's some dancers and musicians too. And there's these bunnies that appear to be like Spooky Island mascots, as well as these cool like porcelain doll head performers, some tiki stuff. In the ending scene, the real Montevarius mentions that Scrappy showed up as a casting call for their evil elves.
Incredible.
There's so many performers that
This
work at
kind
this
of
theme
goes
park.
into my hypothesis that this is a specifically engineered park for like young adults to go to kind of stay out of trouble. Is like it's government subsidized, so they're able to employ a lot of artists. You know,
Okay.
it plays double duty.
Yeah. And then finally, I want to talk about the amenities because, you know, you have a great day at the theme park and you
Right.
want, you like, if the theme park experience is really fun, but then the hotel's crappy, then you're not
Then
going to
it's
have
a
a good
bad
time.
experience overall, right?
We see a lot of the amenities of Spooky Island. We actually spend
Thank
way
God.
more time in like the hotel and stuff than we do in the actual park. So there's the beach down by the boat dock where people seem to hang out. We see a group playing volleyball there, and there are some like small boats in the water. So we have to assume that you're able to rent boats and stuff. You have a very long
It's
ring.
Somebody held down that button.
Yeah. We also spend a lot of time in the Spooky Hotel, which is what it's called. I think we could have come up with a better name, gang. The rest of your theming is really good. I don't know why your hotel
Okay,
is just
fine.
called
Come
Spooky
up with
Hotel.
3 better ones right now.
Hold on. I gotta think. Why, do you have a better one than Spooky Hotel? You think that was perfect?
No, I'm not the one who said that it was a bad name, Adam. So I'm not the one on the spot right now.
I would call it. I'm trying to think of another Disney, like a Polynesian rip, because that's totally what they would do. Man.
Man, this is a lot of dead air.
I'm sorry.
You're so good at improv,
You
Adam.
come up with something. I don't know.
No, my gears are turning.
I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that it's a bad name. I'm saying that Spooky Hotel is kind of like.
You're saying we're unpaid people recording a podcast critiquing it.
Yeah.
And these people are, 6-figure salaried people whose job it is to come up with interesting branding for these hotels and resorts.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not pulling their weight.
I'm saying that it sounds like they built it and they were like, oh shit, we probably got to put something on the map to call the hotel, right? And they were like, Spooky Hotel.
Yeah, spooky. They looked towards the concept art on the wall that said Spooky Island.
Yeah.
They're like hotel and spooky hotel. They were like,
Yeah.
write it down.
And it does seem very nice, but it does not seem big enough for the full capacity of the resort, at least what we see of it. So we have to assume that there's either a lot more buildings of the hotel that we don't see, as
Or
we
there are
only really see the
multiple hotels.
lobby and the lounge area, or there's other hotels in other places.
There's spooky hotel, scary hotel, ghastly hotel, hotel but spooky.
We see like a piano bar in the lobby called the Voodoo Doll Lounge. It's got some like cute themed tiki drinks and this very cool like volcano setup behind the bar. And so from I guess gather some inference from the scene. It seems it's possible that drinks are not included in the resort package though, as when the bartender gives Velma and her hot love interest drinks, he goes on the house. Well, he goes on the house. Nice sweater, which is funny, but he just says on the house. I don't know what they did to get these free drinks, and as they're tiki drinks, they are quite alcoholic, which we see in another deleted scene where Velma gets drunk and sings that Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons songs at the piano bar. You just can't take my eyes off of you.
Crime that it got cut.
Yeah, it's also possible that it's maybe like a Spooky Island like business practice that when patrons are sitting at the bar and not drinking or ordering anything, like occasionally give them a free drink to encourage them to open up a tab.
Yeah, it could also be I have been to a few all-inclusive resorts as a child, and I have definitely seen like a person give a drink to like my dad and be like, on the house, wink, wink, because the joke is like, you already paid for this.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that's possible
you
too.
share a chuckle of like, ah ha ha ha, of course it's on the house. I paid for this.
Okay. There's also a gift shop in the lobby and a concierge desk that we see. It seems like the concierge service is very nice as Daphne brings all those bags and she doesn't have to lug them all the way up to the
She's
hotel.
incredibly powerful, yes.
Because she's very powerful. We also go into a hallway very quickly during the chase scene. Seems like a very nice hallway. I do wish we saw what the rooms looked like because I feel like that might be where the downfall is. If we're not seeing the rooms, maybe they're not good.
Adam gives the hallway 9 out of 10, expecting the rooms to be a solid 4 or 5.
Yeah. The Spooky Hotel also has a very lovely pool area with live music and a lot of dancing. No lifeguards to be seen.
Not necessary.
But the live music is Sugar Ray, and I am unsure if they're supposed to be Sugar Ray in the context of the film or not. They don't mention it or talk about it.
So.
They're just a
Every
band.
morning there's a halo hanging from the corner.
We also see the hotel's restaurant, or at least one of them, in the final scene of the film, where Shaggy and Scooby are hanging out. And we don't know what the name of this restaurant is. It's a possible extension of the Voodoo Doll Lounge. And at the end of the Warner Brothers Movie World ride, we see a place called the Tiki Doll Lounge. So maybe it's that. But maybe it's also that's just like something they decided to call the Voodoo Doll Lounge instead. Although, yeah, like what I said before, when they get invited to the Spooky Island, the travel guy specifies that Montevarious is providing air for a hotel and all you can eat. So I do think food is included. We also see here that Spooky Island has their own brand of like hot peppers. And I think it would be cute that if the hotel to have some like locally sourced foods native to the area that you can get as like a souvenir. I think that's cute. Although you couldn't bring it through customs.
I mean, you could. You would just have to like declare it. It depends on where you're coming from. But like, that's something that's like Bermudan. I mean, it's not the same because you don't eat this, but Bermuda pink sand.
Yeah,
it's like a thing you get in Bermuda.
Yeah, I have a little bottle of Bermuda pink sand.
Yeah, I do too.
There's also a outdoor bar / lounge area somewhere on the resort grounds called Dead Mike's. It seems to be at least
it's a reference to Dead Bob from the Renaissance Fair. It
seems to be within or at least close to the theme park area because when Scooby goes off into the woods, because somebody calls him and tells him that there's a bag of hamburgers in the woods for him. Very funny. He accidentally launches the monster on a palm tree who then gets hit by the roller coaster. So they have to be at least kind of close to the park. The place is called Dead Mike's and it possibly turns into a club or dance party at some point during the night because it's where we see that really cool skull disco ball, which I would like to know where that is because I would like to buy it. I would like to purchase it and hang it in my home.
It would cost you several $100s, but okay.
Yeah, but I would like to purchase it and hang it in my home.
Okay.
This is also where the iconic Melvin Dew scene is, which is also one of the funniest lines in this movie.
This whole film.
Melvin Dew. There also appears to be only one man running this bar, who I can only assume is Dead Mike.
It's him, the prodigal son.
Yeah. Dead Mike seems to be a fun spot and also has some claw machine games, all with different kind of like themed spooky toys in it. This is where Shaggy wins Mary Jane a stuffed shrunken head.
And naming your love interest for Shaggy Mary Jane is just inspired.
And they do, like, they put a hat on a hat because when she introduces herself, he goes like, that is my favorite name.
Yeah. Again, camp but intentional.
Yeah.
They weren't trying to be like tongue in cheek about it. They were like, this character's named Weed, and he goes, I love weed. Yeah,
I love that it's a stuffed shrunken head. I like that all the claw machines have themed toys in them because also Spooky Island seems to have no sponsorships or branding. We never see like a Coke sign or like
government subsidized.
This ride is brought to you by McDonald's or whatever.
This ride was built by Joe Biden's Build Back Better plan.
So that's all the confirmed locations and things that we see in the movie or in concept art and cutscenes and stuff. I do have one kind of, I think, big, and this is the last thing we'll talk about, big kind of thing they're missing out of, a lot of dead space they're using.
Okay. Kind of you're going to do like a Shark Tank.
Yeah, this is what I think they should do next. So
okay.
Now that all the monsters are gone, and the catacombs underneath presumably aren't being used for anything, it would be remiss of Spooky Island management not to create a new upcharge experience where visitors can pay to take a tour of the catacombs, like an adventuring style tour with like rock climbing and hiking and stuff. Like people would do that and people would pay for it.
Oh, I mean, the way that all-inclusives make their money is with excursions that say you pay to leave the resort or do something else. This is definitely one of them. You'd imagine that like boat rental and things like that are also upcharges. So like, Then you could get the families in because then it's a historical thing. That's the thing I was thinking too, is that they could also turn it into some kind of museum or walkthrough attraction. As in the sequel, we see Mystery Inc. open up like a museum exhibition. And I'm sure they would be more than happy to donate some pieces for a temporary exhibition at Spooky Island since it was the place where they made their big comeback. Yeah, Adam, I was going to save this for the end, but I love you so much. You're my best friend. I take this very seriously. I appreciate how incredibly seriously you took this very important work this episode. Yeah. And I'd just like to commend you now before you kind of wrap it up. Just a really good job all around. Thank you. I did take this very seriously and enjoyed it very much. Because also I was thinking and this is kind of where we'll wrap it up, because I was thinking when I researched this, I was like, somebody has to have done this before. And the answer was no, they have not. This breaking new ground. This may be the most research anyone's ever done on Spooky Island. And I can't imagine why. Yeah. So that's kind of everything that we know and my future ideas for Spooky Island. I really like that. I need to also bring up a great crime that I realized when I went to watch this movie, which is that it has a 31 on Rotten Tomatoes. Which is wrong. Which is a crime. Yeah. I would expect that this would be a 31 critic score and an 87 audience score. But no, it's a 39 audience score, which I'm going to say it was just before its time, Yeah. It broke too many grounds. The consensus is, though Lillard is uncannily spot on as Shaggy, of course. Yeah. Scooby-Doo is a tired live-action update. Wrong. Filled with lame jokes. Incorrect. It's hilarious. So that's a crime. Lots of crimes that we're talking about this episode. Yeah. Once again, just an incredible job, Adam. Thank you. I think that this was a great pitch to Matt Pat to do a film theory, and if he does, we're going to sue his ass. Matt Pat, call us. Like Disney... to a kid. Matt Pat, call us. I'll help. Matt Pat, don't call us. We'll me. Call you. We'll call you. So this is the last episode. This is the finale of the Great American Scream. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed, please follow on Spotify or rate and review on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe to us on Patreon and become a supporter of the show. It means so much that people do that. We have tons of different tiers that allow you early access to episodes, access to Patreon-only polls, and just discussion and behind-the-scenes material from the show. Adam, this outline will be going on the Patreon. Oh, it's so much fun. Adam, can you pimp our social medias, please? Yeah, you can check us out on Facebook at The Great American Scream, or more frequently on Instagram and Twitter at Great Scream Pod. Please send us your pitches for attractions for Spooky Islands, and also if you have a better name for the Spooky Hotel, please tell us. You can tweet at us or post using the hashtag TGAS. And as always, if there is something that you would like to hear about on the show, you can tweet it at us or post, because your suggestion may become a topic for a future episode. Yes, special thank you goes out to Adam. Thank you. Thanks to Adam. A special thank you goes out to Michael Segudo for doing the disclaimer at the beginning of the show, as well as to Stevie Viola, who does the intro and outro music. He has a ton of great music, including cool video game remixes that you can check out on YouTube. And a special thank you goes out to all of our patrons on the Man in the Fields level or higher. So thank you to Regina, Ben, Bree, Gail, Joyce, Brucker, Melinda, and Chris. I've been Devin Wright. I've been Adam O'Connell. And hopefully you have been spooked. Key Island. Is that a good one, Adam? Yeah, that was good. Okay. Yeah, just leave that one. Don't go on the wooden roller coaster, because there's no way to do it safely.